Hey guys, great to be here.
I wanted to tell a little bit of a plug here. One of the other things that I do over on patreon.com/reality forecast is I try and give you targets as a remote viewer to practice. So you can go to other places and get practice targets, but they're likely a picture. I try and give you things that are more uplifting to your life. So I present targets for you there. I present challenging targets for you there. You can sign up for $5 also on patreon.com/reality forecast. I give you stock tips. Now, I am not a financial advisor. I only play one on the internet. No, I don't even play one on the internet, but I want to share with you what it is that we can do with the power of remote viewing and forecasting. So we try and give you a snapshot, a peek view of what's coming in the market. Monday, I'll drop the whole newsletter for people, but if you want to follow me there, you can learn what the high gainers are we're predicting for each of the different industries in the stock market. And that's something else that I do.
How do they find that? It's at realityforecast.com.
No, that one's over on Patreon. So that's the behind doors closed peek as to what me and my team are doing. And we're investors too. So we want to know what's happening, what the trend lines are, what market's going to share, what things are going to expand, what things are going to contract, what things are going to poop, and what's going to burst. And those are not technical analysis terms at all. But we do use TA, and we do use a number of different methods for our forecasting, remote viewing included, and other methods as well.
That's awesome. And so go to Patreon and then type.
Patreon.com/reality forecast. You can find me there. And also you can, if you want to have questions, you can reach out to me if you're interested in taking my next remote viewing course. It's Temporal Awareness Perception Remote Viewing. We cover stages 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 of my own personal hybridized blend of controlled remote viewing, technical remote viewing, scientific remote viewing, and others, and every other training method that I've taken in remote viewing. I try and give it to you.
That is so cool. Yeah, I've taken this class. It's really good. Yeah. And I really do feel that you help people to understand how to work with energy. So that way, when you're actually tapped into that alpha theta.
And we like to remain hyper conscious when we're doing a remote viewing session. So our eyes are alert, our eyes are open, we're jotting down information. You're like a psychic stenographer when you're taking dictation from the matrix or the unconscious or your own unconscious or the greater mind.
And I really liked it too, because we actually walk around the scene and you're actually there. So what perceptions you're receiving from the universal consciousness, and then we write those down.
Yeah, there are a number of different ways that I can present the information to you and get you involved in the remote viewing process. I want to find out which one works best for you. Where are you best? What senses are heightened for you? What senses are dull for you? Well, let's polish those up. A full session will take you like 30 to 45 minutes. And each page, you're recording more information. You're getting more and more data. We can use that in trend analysis. We can do that in stock forecasting. But you have to be blind to what you're remote viewing, simply because a remote viewer is always blind to what their target is. They don't want to be front loaded, and they don't want their conscious mind to blur what it is that they're trying to view. Let's give you an example. Hey, Daniel, today we're going to remote view the creation of the Golden Gate Bridge.
Oh, I just saw a Golden Gate Bridge. I just saw a Golden Gate Bridge in my mind.
Right. I've already told you what it is that you're viewing. That's called front loaded. Or if I were to tell you it's a location, that would be another example of front loaded. Less specific, but still you'd know something about it. So your
Right.
conscious mind begins to play tricks on you, and it tries to tell you what the mind can make of the data. It will interject. So you have to be blind in a remote viewing session. So I can never know as a remote viewer what it is that I'm going to spend my attention on for the next 45 minutes. And the proof is 20 years of remote viewing to show me I've got accurate data, but I only know that when I'm done with the target, when I've closed the session, and when I open my envelope, which has what the cue was.
What else can we learn about remote viewing?
Remote viewing is kind of a gateway to understanding anything about anything. I've had interesting sessions before. We looked at extraterrestrial intelligences. We've looked at abduction experiences, specific abduction experiences. We've looked at UFO crashes. We've looked at UFO sightings to find out what agency is behind them. Now, we're not going to name the star that ship traveled from, but we can identify the type of propulsion it's not really a propulsion. It's more like a jump drive or a flash drive in a lot of instances. And sometimes it's a scout ship that the person has seen on Earth, and we can vector up to their bigger ship where that scout ship came from. Any investigation with remote viewing is prime for the picking. I mean, you can learn anything about anything, past, present, and future. History books are written by the winners, but remote viewers can see what the losers were thinking. Gift to the omniscient. Whatever you want to know, whatever you want to see, past, present, future, non-past, like anything, remote viewing. There it is. Tap, join my course.
I love it. I'm joining today. So go right now to reality.
No, we're not pushing the course. I don't want to push the course. That wasn't my goal here today.
No, I know.
I just
No,
want to talk
I
more
think
about
that
some of the other projects
we're
I'm
covering
working on.
a really cool subject here of understanding what remote viewing, how deep remote viewing goes. Remote viewing could be for history buffs, learn more. There's all kinds of things.
Ever since 100 years ago, I've always been interested in that. And so remote viewing allows me to tap into the unknown. It allows me to know what's unknowable, know the unknown, and see with it my own eyes. I don't see it. Like in remote viewing, that's a misnomer. You're not really, it's not watching a movie. Like I'm not going to watch, a comic book of the thing. I'm not going to see a movie of the characters. I'm writing it all down in paper form, in template form. And then when I'm done, I've got like 15 or 20 pages of white paper that I can look at and see. That way I can't show you that, but that's a project I'm working on. But you have to then extrapolate the data and then write it in a cohesive way. And I try and do that and teach that with all the people that come to the course.
Yeah, it's very in depth too. It's intense. I mean, twice a week at 2 hours a night and homework. It's intense. But what I love is that you're always wanting us to actually have that transformation, to actually tap in. I love it. Tap into the universal consciousness to actually get our energy working. That's the reason why I took the course, is because I'm a law of attraction person, but I know I have inherent abilities that I wanted to sharpen and strengthen. And I felt that your course really helped me a lot in that. I was able to see things even more clearly. Remote viewing, because of my nature, is very structured, whereas I always like, I'm more of a free spirit. So in my gifts, I'm out here fluttering everywhere, so they're going to be more drawn to remote viewing because of the neat things that you can do with it. I mean, there's so many applications for remote viewing. How are they, say if they're all by themselves, how do they find a target that they're wanting to know, some daily applications of it? How do they need to form a team of remote viewers so that way?
That would be great. Yeah, forming a team of remote viewers would be great. I encourage everyone to do that. Create your own pod of remote viewers and your own Delta Force, if you will, of remote viewers. No, but I offer that in my Patreon too, so you can practice different targets each week and get better at it, and then evolve to that status. I've seen some remote viewing groups on Facebook that write cues poorly, and it is the bane of my existence. I prefer properly written remote viewing cues clearly and succinctly. And if they're not, then you're going to get, it's a garbage in, garbage out situation. Think of it like a computer program. That's your code, that's your language, that's your programming for what your session is going to be like. And if you write garbage code, then you're going to get a garbage program, or in this case, a garbage remote viewing session.
It makes a lot of sense. And to break that down to layman's terms, it's like dealing with code. If they don't have autocorrect in code, and even when you do have autocorrect, sometimes it still messes up the message that you're trying to get. So if you write the cue out the way Ronan explains, then you're going to get better information. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and but there are applications for writing code. I actually teach people to write code in my advanced awakening healing class, but you can write code for yourself in order to affect change in your behavior, affect change in your supplement routine, affect change in your protein. That's another topic that we're covered in a different class. There's like multiple classes that I teach, but that's another one, another topic. I missed the big game. I didn't really watch it. I don't really care about sports anymore. There's just so much to do.
Yeah. Well, the truth is when you're watching sports, it's fun. And what I love about sports is camaraderie and to see the skill of these amazing athletes. It's a lot of fun, especially hanging out with friends, the ones you love. But I also realize that, I mean, I want to root for both teams. I know that's not fun. I know most sports people like that. You can't do that. But I don't want the emotional. I mean, I want the emotional roller coaster of my team winning, and that's all I want. I don't want to see my team lose. And I think I grew up in Indianapolis, so I've been
You
in
gotta
Texas.
have a dog in the hunt, Daniel.
Yeah,
It's more
I,
fun
I'd
with
always
a
root.
dog in the hunt.
I'd always root for the underdog, but that was just a bad idea. I've been in Texas for 20 years, but I grew up in Indianapolis and we didn't have any Colts until we got the Colts. And then the Colts really sucked until they got Peyton Manning. And me, I was like, man, is he the real deal? I don't know. You know, it wasn't until the end. I'm like, damn, Peyton Manning really was the real deal.
So let me ask you, what is the benefit for you if you could know what's coming? Let's say stocks, for example. If you knew that some stocks were going to be a poppin' in March, do you think that would be a benefit to you as an investor so you could take advantage of that? I'm sorry, I gave you the answer to the question that I asked. Let me ask again. Is there a benefit to you in knowing what's coming?
Yeah. For example, if there was a penny stock or something, well, here's the biggest one is like, what I like about you is say if I was looking at something, well, remember, I've owned a few different businesses and we were looking at merging or working with different specific companies. And basically I came to you and you did a remote viewing report and everything and gave us some guidance because if we would have, and then what happened was the company that Ronan told us not to have anything to do with ended up being a bad company and they went out of business and had a terrible reputation.
Oh,
And
really?
if we would have hooked up with, or partnered up with that company, well, that would have been bad. So
Yeah, so I'll tell people the
that's a good
background. There was a guy that you asked if he's, on the level, not on the level. And I gave it to one of my team of remote viewers and I had them do a personality profile of this person. And that's a different method. It's a different beast you can do in remote viewing. It's an advanced technique, but you're looking at the person based on what their intents are, what their guidance is, what's their moral compass, where are they really feeling? And I remember that session, the guy had a fake Rolex and he was disingenuous about his true moral compass and where he was directing you. So he had like a shifty focus. And this is what I'm remembering. This is like years ago from the viewing session. And so we advised as a remote viewing team at Reality Forecast that this was not the person to go into business with because they appeared shifty and they appeared like they didn't have the right moral compass and that they could result in your financial like loss, significant loss, I think was what we said.
yeah.
I have to go back and read the report, but
Yeah, so if anyone's listening to the show that happens to own a few businesses, or maybe you made it to where you're around $5 to $10 million, and you're trying to expand that, and you're looking at three different companies to expand with, then remote viewing could be a very nice tool to use to make the big choices, so you don't lose millions, but you make millions.
yeah. And another thing that we did, I think I can say this, I won't use names, but we were tasked by a prosecutor to look at the minds of people that were potential jurors and identify what their behavior would be in certain circumstances. So they were trying to tilt the jury in their favor, and they used my remote viewing team to find out which jurors would be best suited to a probable, favorable outcome. That's another personality profile segmentary that we did. So if you do have people that you're looking at working with, it's important to know what their ulterior motives are. And you can't really find that by asking them. So you'd have to contract my team, Reality Forecast, to identify what those motives are in people. But it's just another thing that my team can do. And they're blind. They don't know what they're viewing. So they still have no idea, but they get you the information that you need. If you like Daniel's show, follow him over at ultimaterealitysurfing.com. If you like me, go ahead and click the like button, subscribe. Try and find me, ask me questions if you're interested in the course. The next one, it's offered every quarter, to be coming up in April. So if you're interested, go to www.realityforecast, sign up for a free consult with me so I can learn what you want, you'll get out of my course.
You know
See
it.
you next time,
Yep.
everybody.
See y'all. Soup is good, you know. Have you tasted the soup?